I never thought betrayal could come from two people I trusted most. It started like any normal day, a warm cup of coffee in my hand, my husband humming as he got ready for work, and my best friend, Mia, texting me that she'd drop by later for our usual afternoon chat. It was one of those days where everything seemed fine on the surface, but deep down, I had this strange, unexplainable feeling in my chest. Something just didn't feel right. I brushed it off like I always did, told myself I was overthinking, being dramatic. I wish I had trusted that gut feeling. My husband, Aaron, was the kind of man who made you feel safe. He had that calming energy, always said the right things, and could make me laugh even on my worst days. When we got married, I genuinely believed he'd protect me from anything. And for years, he did. Or at least, he made me believe he was. That's what makes this so hard to talk about. Because it wasn't just his betrayal, it was hers too. Mia wasn't just my friend. She was like a sister to me. We'd known each other since college, shared secrets, dreams, heartbreaks. She was there when Aaron and I got married, even helped me pick out my wedding dress. Looking back, there were signs. Small things. Glances between them that lasted a little too long. Inside jokes I wasn't a part of. Late replies from Aaron when he was supposedly working late but never mentioned meetings. Still, I trusted them both. I never wanted to be the kind of person who snooped or questioned every move. I believed in giving people space, in letting them breathe. But space can also be the very thing that opens the door to temptation. Everything changed the day I came home early from a weekend visit to my mom's. The house was quiet, too quiet. Aaron wasn't answering his phone, and I figured he'd gone out. But then I noticed her shoes by the door, Mia's favorite black flats. My heart started pounding. I called out, thinking maybe she was just dropping something off. But what I saw upstairs shattered everything. It wasn't just about the act, it was the look on their faces. Shock, guilt, and something else I can't even put into words. Like they weren't surprised to be caught. Like part of them had been waiting for it to happen. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, frozen. My world, the one I thought was built on love, friendship, and trust, collapsed in a second. And the worst part? Aaron didn't say a word. Not even an apology. Mia tried to explain, her voice shaking, but I couldn't hear her. All I could think was, how could the two people I loved most cross a line so deeply, so cruelly? I thought my husband was supposed to protect me. But instead, he became the very person I needed protection from. And that was just the beginning. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't slam the door. I just left. I don't even remember how I got to my car or where I drove for those first few minutes. My hands were shaking, my heart felt like it was about to break through my chest, and my mind kept flashing back to the look on their faces. I kept asking myself the same question, how long had this been going on? And why didn't I see it sooner? The truth is, things between Aaron and me had changed over the past year, but I thought it was just normal married life. He became more distant, sure, but we were both busy. He'd started a new job that demanded long hours, and I was helping care for my dad who'd gotten sick. We barely had time to sit down together, let alone talk about what we were feeling. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. Every couple does, right? But now, everything I thought was just stress or bad timing suddenly felt like signs I ignored. He'd grown colder, but I blamed it on work. He stopped texting during the day, but I assumed he was just tired. Mia, too, had changed subtly. She used to come over to vent or laugh, to share her life with me. But slowly, our conversations shifted. She talked more about Aaron, always in casual ways, like, "Aaron's so funny," or "You're lucky to have a husband who listens." It never felt wrong at the time. But now, those words sting like poison. I started piecing things together in my mind, replaying every conversation, every moment they were ever in the same room. Had this started when she and her boyfriend broke up last fall? Was it a moment of weakness, or something planned? The doubt clawed at me. I had no real answers, just a million questions eating away at me. I didn't tell anyone right away. Not my mom, not my closest cousin. I felt too ashamed. Like somehow, I had failed. I kept thinking, what did I miss? What could I have done differently? I was the one who introduced them. I let Mia into every part of my life, and I trusted Aaron to respect that. But now, I couldn't even look in the mirror without feeling like I'd been played by both of them. What hurt the most was knowing that this betrayal didn't happen overnight. They made choices, one after another, and every single time, they chose to lie to me. And I still didn't know the full story. I had no idea how deep it went, or what else they were hiding. All I knew was that the two people I trusted with my heart had burned it to the ground. And the worst part? I wasn't sure I was ready to hear the truth, even if they finally decided to tell it. For the first few days, I kept to myself. I stayed at a small motel just outside of town, not ready to face anyone or answer questions I couldn't explain. My phone buzzed constantly, calls from Aaron, messages from Mia. I didn't open a single one. Just seeing their names made my stomach turn. I kept telling myself I needed time to think, to breathe. But the silence was just as painful. Every moment alone gave my mind room to wander, to imagine scenarios, to replay the moment I found them, to question everything. On the third day, I finally picked up a call. It was my cousin Rachel. She could hear it in my voice immediately, that something was off. I didn't tell her the full story, just that Aaron and I were having problems and I needed space. She offered her guest room without asking for details, and I accepted. Being around someone who didn't pressure me to explain was a small relief. But even there, the questions kept growing. I started wondering, was this the first time? Had it happened before? Was I just the last to know? Part of me wanted to find out everything, but the other part didn't know if I could handle it. What if it had been going on for months? What if there were lies wrapped inside more lies? I needed to understand how my marriage, something I had poured my heart into, had gotten to this point. I finally gathered the courage to check Aaron's messages. Dozens of them. Most were just please call me, but one stood out. It said, you don't understand, it was complicated. That one sentence kept echoing in my head. What did that even mean? Complicated how? I hadn't even begun to unravel Mia's side of it either. She hadn't sent as many messages, but one of hers said, I never meant to hurt you. I didn't plan for this to happen. I couldn't help but wonder what their story was. Did one of them start it? Was it emotional at first and then crossed a line? Had they convinced themselves it wasn't wrong because they kept it hidden? These thoughts drove me crazy. I even started thinking back to little moments when I might have unknowingly encouraged their bond, inviting Mia over when I was too tired to talk, asking Aaron to check on her after her breakup. The deeper I dug into my own memories, the more twisted everything became. I didn't know what hurt worse, the betrayal itself, or the fact that somewhere along the way, I had let my guard down and trusted people who were slowly breaking me behind my back. It was around midnight when I finally decided to go back to the house, not to talk, not to forgive, but to get answers. I couldn't keep running from it anymore. I needed to face Aaron and Mia and look them both in the eye. The drive felt longer than usual, even though I'd done it 100 times before. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tight, I could feel my nails digging into my skin. My heart wouldn't stop racing. I didn't know what I'd say, or what they might say back. I just knew I couldn't carry this pain alone anymore. When I pulled into the driveway, the porch light was still on. The house looked exactly the same, but it didn't feel like home. It felt like a place full of shadows and silence, filled with broken trust and unanswered questions. I stood at the front door for a minute, breathing deeply, steadying myself. Then I knocked, not because I didn't have a key, but because I didn't feel like I belonged there anymore. Aaron opened the door slowly, as if he'd been expecting me but wasn't sure what to do now that I was actually standing there. His face was pale, eyes sunken. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. But I didn't feel sorry for him. Not even a little. He stepped aside and let me in without saying a word. The tension in the air was thick, almost suffocating. I could feel it pressing on my chest. I asked him one question. Was it love, or was it just a game? His lips parted, but no words came out. That silence was louder than anything he could have said. I walked into the living room and froze. Sitting on the edge of the couch, with her hands clenched in her lap, was Mia. My heart dropped. I wasn't expecting her to be there. The three of us sat in that room, the air so tense it felt like the walls were closing in. No one spoke at first. Just three people, caught in the wreckage of something they all played a part in, whether they admitted it or not. I wanted to scream, to cry, to ask 1,000 things at once. But instead, I sat still. I waited. And then Mia opened her mouth and said something I never saw coming, words that would change everything and push this betrayal into a place far darker than I ever imagined. Mia's voice trembled as she spoke, but what she said wasn't what I expected. It's not just what you think, she whispered, eyes flickering between Aaron and me. There's something else, something you don't know. My heart pounded so loud I thought it might burst. I wanted to shout, "What do you mean?" but I forced myself to stay quiet, waiting for her to explain. Aaron finally broke the silence, his voice low and uneven. I never wanted this to happen. But Mia, she came to me when I was at my lowest. I looked at him, confused and angry. Lowest? What do you mean? I asked, my voice shaking. He swallowed hard and said, after the accident. The word hit me like a punch. Accident? What accident? Mia took a deep breath and began to reveal a side of the story I hadn't even known existed. Last year, she said softly, Aaron was hurt badly. He didn't tell you because he didn't want to worry you. He was in the hospital for weeks, and he struggled. Physically, yes, but mostly mentally. He was lost. My mind raced back. I had no idea about any accident. How could Aaron hide something so serious from me? The room grew colder as they told me more. The accident wasn't just physical, it had changed Aaron in ways I couldn't understand. He felt isolated, scared, even ashamed. Mia said she was there for him when I wasn't, that she listened when he couldn't talk to anyone else. That's when their relationship had started, slowly, quietly, under the surface of my life. A connection born out of pain and loneliness, but still a betrayal. I wanted to scream at them both, to demand why they couldn't have come to me, to ask why they chose lies instead of truth. But what shocked me most was the other part Mia revealed. It's not just about us, she said, her voice barely a whisper. There's something Aaron's been hiding from you. Something bigger. My stomach twisted. What else was there? What else had I been kept in the dark about? Aaron looked down, nodding slowly. I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you, but I didn't know how. The tension in the room thickened like fog. My heart hammered, and every piece of me screamed to find out the truth. But it felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, not sure if I'd fall or fly. Mia continued, it's connected to the accident, and to some people Aaron crossed paths with after. People who aren't just part of his past, but dangerous. My mind spun, trying to process it all, the betrayal, the secret accident, and now some kind of threat lurking beneath everything I thought I knew about my husband. The house felt like a trap. I didn't know who to trust anymore. The people who were supposed to protect me had secrets deeper than I imagined, and those secrets were pulling me into a darkness I wasn't ready for. I was caught between heartbreak and fear, and all I wanted was to find a way out before everything collapsed completely. But the more I tried, the more tangled the web became, and I was starting to realize there might be no simple answers left at all. The room felt heavier with every word Aaron and Mia shared. I could barely breathe, trying to hold on to the pieces of a life that was unraveling faster than I could understand. Then Aaron looked me straight in the eye and said something I never expected. "I didn't tell you because I was scared, not just of what happened, but of losing you." The truth spilled out like a flood. The accident had been worse than I imagined. A reckless mistake on his part, one that put someone else in danger. People with influence, people who wanted to keep it quiet. Aaron got trapped in a web of silence and fear, and Mia's support was the only light he found during that dark time. What started as comfort turned into something more, something neither of them planned or wanted. But the secrecy destroyed us all. I wanted to scream at them, but all I could do was shake. The betrayal wasn't just about the affair, it was about the lies, the hidden pain, the trust broken in 1,000 small ways. I realized then how much we had all been hiding from each other, how much I had been left out of the story. But as the night stretched on, something else happened. Mia pulled out a small envelope from her bag. "There's one more thing," she said quietly. I reached for it, hesitant, my hands trembling. Inside was a folder with photos and messages, evidence of someone else watching us, someone who knew more about the accident than Aaron had admitted. Before I could ask who, the front door burst open. A man I'd never seen before stepped inside, calm but intense. "You don't know the whole story," he said. "And you never will, if you don't listen." The tension exploded into chaos. Aaron tried to block the man, but he wasn't alone. 2 others appeared behind him, shadows in the dim light. Suddenly, I realized the danger wasn't just from secrets and betrayal, it was real. The accident had tied us to people who wouldn't stop until they got what they wanted. I was trapped between fear and fury, between the man I loved and the threat that loomed over us all. But then the unexpected happened. The man spoke again, softer this time. "We're not here to hurt you. We're here to protect you from the truth Aaron's been hiding from himself." He pulled out a phone and played a video. It showed Aaron, but not the man I knew. Someone else was involved, someone who had manipulated everything, using Aaron and Mia's secret to control them both. I sat frozen, heart pounding as the full picture came into view. This wasn't just infidelity or a hidden past, it was a trap set by a third party, someone who wanted to tear us apart. Aaron wasn't just a victim, he was a pawn in a dangerous game. In that moment, I understood the real battle wasn't just about trust or love. It was about fighting for truth, and fighting for survival. But the biggest twist? The person behind it all was someone I never would have suspected, someone who had been closer to me than I ever imagined. And the worst part was, they were still watching. After the shocking reveal, everything shifted. The weight of betrayal was now tangled with danger and deception that went far beyond what I could have imagined. Aaron, Mia, and I were no longer just caught in a personal mess, we were caught in something much bigger, something that forced us to face not only the truth about each other but also the reality of the threats lurking in the shadows. In the days that followed, Aaron took responsibility for his mistakes, opening up about the accident and the people involved. We contacted the authorities, and with the evidence Mia had given us, they started to uncover the network behind the whole scheme. It was painful, reliving the betrayal, the lies, and the fear, but it was also freeing. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I could breathe again. Mia and I had many difficult conversations. Forgiveness wasn't something that came easily, but I realized that holding on to anger wouldn't heal any of us. We were all broken in different ways, and the path forward meant being honest about pain, mistakes, and the hope for something better. It didn't mean forgetting what happened but learning how to move past it. As for Aaron and me, rebuilding trust would take time, maybe a lot of time. But understanding the full picture helped me see him not just as the man who betrayed me, but as someone who'd been fighting his own battles in silence. The love we had wasn't gone, it was buried under layers of fear and secrets. Whether we could bring it back was still uncertain, but I knew we owed it to ourselves to try. This story isn't just about infidelity or betrayal. It's about how fragile trust can be, and how strong people can become when faced with the darkest moments. Sometimes, the people closest to you aren't just the ones who hurt you, they're also the ones who can help you find your way back. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's this: listen to your instincts. Don't ignore the small signs or doubts. Protect yourself, but don't close your heart. And remember, even when the world feels like it's falling apart, there's always a chance to rebuild, one honest step at a time. 28.